I broke the #1 rule of mechanicking, and that's not had my Leatherman on me. Before I start this video, I want to show you something. Check this out. And if that ain't cool enough, check this out. You can be the first ones to have an HEI t-shirt. We just got these made. Right now we have them in gray, but if you request them in any other color, I'll try to get them in that color. I do not have a website. I do not have the whole buy and press button thing going on, but I do have a telephone. So if you want one of these cool shirts with the old gremlin on the back, all you got to do is call an order, and I'll put the number below. And I'll put an email too, if you in the description. I'll put an email. Maybe I'll throw one across the screen real quick. So all you got to do is either email and ask for one, or call us up and order one. I think they're like $24.95. Okay, I'm pretty sure I can get them in black, maybe navy blue, royal blue, whatever they call it, and white. Okay, I got them in gray because white gets dirty, black gets hot when you go to a car show, and I got these to go to that last show I went to, and it would have been cooking if I had them in black. But if you like black, if you wear t-shirts, I'm thinking about getting some hoodies and stuff made too, but this is just, you know, I'm going to end the commercial now. But give us a call. I'll say the number real quick for those that might be hearing impaired. That would be brilliant. I'll say it for those of you can, but I'm going to put it on there for those that might be hearing impaired. But the number's 931-788-5569. That's 931-788-5569. Call that number to order yourself one of these cool shirts. Hey YouTubers, I thought I would make a quick video on one of the common mistakes a lot of us, including me, make when installing a module in an HEI distributor. It's kind of stupid, but it's all in the know, right? And I didn't know. I've been installing these things for years, but things have changed over the last 30, 40 years, 45 years that I've been turning wrenches. Okay, I was driving 66 Chevelles and 71 Barracudas because those were the cheap cars when I was a kid. Those were the 20-year-old, 10 and 20-year-old cars when I was a kid. So we drove those things into the ground. And I've always thought, and I still think, the HEI is probably one of the best distributors ever made. Unfortunately, they're big and bulky, so they're hard to get in some applications, like if you've got a blower or something like that. HEIs just don't do the trick. But if you can use one, in my opinion, and I know a lot of you Mopar enthusiasts and you die-hard Ford guys, I didn't mean to say the F word on video, but you gotta say it sometimes. The Quadrajet carburetor is also, in my opinion, one of the best carburetors ever made. And I know that the Carter AFB and the Thermoquad are supposed to be somewhat similar, but in my opinion, nothing works better. But we're on electronics today, so I'm just going to do a quick video. Yeah, I probably talked longer than it's going to take to do this whole video. Maybe not, but I'm going to show you, not tell you, because I could tell you, and some people just it doesn't sink in. I'm one of those. You tell me till I'm blue in the face, I'll be what? But if you show me, I got it forever. And you can always put it on your favorites and come back to it later. And please subscribe if this helps you out at all. If you're having some heat problems with your car where it's just acting wonky, could be this. And I'll tell you why during the video. So let's go. This car is a little different than most in that you have to take the coil out of it before you pull the cap. Otherwise, chances are you're going to bust the button in there. And that's because of this overhang. Most cars, you don't really have to do that. So this is just one extra step for this particular car. But if you find that you're busting that little doohickey in there when you're And there's 3 of those, but there's only one holding this one in, because you know you really only need one. But God forbid I tell you to do something you shouldn't do. But just to keep it from floating off, and it ain't going anywhere anyway, because there's just not enough room. But nonetheless, we need to pull these 4 out, and I'm going to pull the coil out, and it's just this particular car that you have to do that with, because see how close that is right there. Most, again, like I said, you can pull these out without taking the coil out. Now these are just little pull clips. Chances are if you're watching this video and you're having trouble with your HEI, you're probably curious as to what I'm getting ready to say, but you should already know how to do this if you're tackling it, but you may not. So there's just a couple of little tabs that you have to access to pull this piece off, to pull these plugs out of here. There we go. And other than that, they're not too bad. Once you get all that done, you just kind of wiggle this out of here. You got to make sure these are all completely loose, otherwise it ain't going nowhere. There we go. Sometimes you'll need a pair of needle nose pliers to work these out, which I don't happen to have on me at the moment, so stand by. I know. I broke the *1 rule of mechanicking, and that's not had my Leatherman on me. Ooh, this one's going to be a bugger. They usually don't give you that much trouble coming out. Wow. Try pushing it from the other end. Oh, that's the other side. It's really usually not that difficult. I think what's happening is I'm accidentally, here it is, grabbing the plastic along with it, because they're in there pretty tight. There we go. Alright, it just comes out all in one piece like this. Put it someplace safe. I'm laying it on the tire, probably not the best idea. And this is the little button I was talking about. That little button there is very, very important. And I'm looking at it, checking it, and it looks fine. So, but that is usually what gets broken if you try to take this cap off within this car. Like I said, most cars that's not the case. Alright, so now the 3 screws that I did put on this car are the ones that you can get to. There's one way in the back, and you can wrestle with that one if you want to. But honestly, most distributors have 2 screws holding them on, so this one just is overkill. So now I'm probably going to end up putting this cap right in your way for seeing what I'm doing, so we may have to do some modifications. Yep, sure enough, you're not going to be able to see a thing. That's awesome. Nope. Not at all. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there's not really any way. I suppose I could take this one spark plug wire off and see if that does it. Nope, not really. Nope, still can't see. Alright, we'll have to make some adjustments. I think I finally got a camera angle that'll work for you. Don't let me forget to put that wire back on. That'll definitely cause a problem. Alright. I'm not going to time lapse this video simply because it's going to be pretty short in itself. Because we're almost down to the putting of this entire video. So now this particular car, like none that I've ever seen, has a heat plate that goes on top of the module. And I'm not sure I'm digging that idea either, to be honest with you. Because again, the enemy with modules is heat. And this particular car runs at, oh, well, that's the end of that. This particular car runs at, the fans don't even come on until about 238 degrees. Okay, they come on at 200, there's no guessing about it. So, why they want to put a piece of metal over the top of it to hold heat, and then the problem we're about to come into, and I'm going to explain to you. So here's going to be the secret of the entire video. So for those of you who are watching this video strictly for the reason of finding out what I'm talking about, heat-related problems with this particular unit, this is going to be the bread and butter of this particular video. So we're going to pull this out of here. It just pulls out of the wiring harnesses. This particular one in the back does have some little nibbies you got to pick up. Sometimes they can be a pain, so you can use a screwdriver to lift them as you push. This one I believe I broke, and they do kind of come out together, so you got to kind of push them both out together. Come on. Now, here's going to be the problem, and I'm going to go ahead and point the camera at me so I can explain this. This is the problem. Okay, if you look deep into this, this is dielectric grease that I put on there. Okay, that's bad. That's a no-no. Okay, back in the day, when you bought a new module, they would come with a little tube of grease inside them. And the common mistake, because I thought I knew it all, of course, I was young. You think you know it all when you're young. Now I realize that I probably forgot more than I've ever known and don't know nothing. But anyhow, they used to come with a little tube of grease in there. And nobody explained what the grease was for. And if you read the directions, it'd say, make sure you put on the grease. So I always put the grease in because, I knew it all, right? So I would put the grease in, not knowing why, but never had any troubles because I put the grease in. But modern day, parts are getting cheap. They're getting made in other countries that maybe the quality is not so good. I don't want to diss our distant friends that we buy a lot of stuff from, because believe it or not, our overseas friends are manufacturing a lot of restoration products. So I don't want to diss them, because without them, if you remember COVID, when we weren't doing business overseas, we couldn't get nothing. So surprisingly enough, our economy depends on their economy, whether we like it or not. Okay? Now, yes, we like to buy American, but we also like cheap, right? And it's impossible, almost impossible, to buy American parts, some particular parts. And you got to really shop around. And I actually bought a winch a while back, just for a short story. And I searched. I want an American-made winch, and I'm searching and I'm searching, and I found one that was made in Australia. I'm like, well, it's the outback, right? Winches from Australia ought to be good. Don't know. Because when the winch showed up, guess what it said on the side of the box? Made in, yeah, you guessed it, China. So, it's a good winch. I'm not dissing it whatsoever. But I purposely was looking for something, and because it said it was manufactured, or maybe it was assembled, I didn't look at the fine print. It said Australia. I figured they got to know what they're doing, right? Australian hot rodding in Australia is pretty cool. They are probably right up there with us as far as hot rodding goes. So if you ever get a chance to go to Australia, it's one place I would like to go, just because their hot rodding is cool. They got some nice, I love their cars. If you ever watched the movie Mad Max, I am building a Mad Max car, and it's an Australian Falcon. And theirs is way cooler. Our Falcons, our old ones are cool, but theirs is cooler. Theirs is nice. So anyhow, nonetheless, let's back to this. Okay, here's the problem that we run into with using dielectric grease. All right, The purpose of the grease, and this is the secret to the whole video here. The purpose for the grease is not to get a good ground. It's not to make sure that the electronics are getting good connections. It has nothing to do with that. That's what dielectric grease does. It makes sure your connections do not fail you. Now, if you want to put them on the prongs, great. Dielectric grease would be great on those prongs, keep them from corroding. All right, especially if your car sits around a lot. But for the grease that you're supposed to put here, do not, I mean do not, big exclamations, do not put dielectric grease. All right, and I'm going to tell you why. Don't you hate these shows where they keep giving you a little bit of information just to keep you interested? Well, yeah, I know, I'm doing that. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Now, this is the new one anyway. It doesn't have, this is the old one with the grease on it. This is the new one. All right, and I just threw the box. Now I got to set it down somewhere else. But anyhow, all right, this is what you should be using. Okay, I don't know if you can read that. I don't know sometimes but you should be able to. This is a brand new box, and I had, believe it or not, I had to search high and low for this thing. I got online, and what it is it is cooling gel, if you will, or cooler paste, and it's made for electronics. Who knew, right? I'm not a techie. You know, my idea of turning on a computer is press the button, click the mouse on the little icon thing, and that's the extent of my computer knowledge. I can crash the heck out of them, but I'm not very good at fixing them. Okay, but evidently computers get hot, and heat makes things expand, and heat and electronics are not good bedfellows. Nope, found that out. They don't do well together. Okay, so put your computer in a hot place and it'll probably fail. All right, but the cool thing about it, they cool back off and they work fine. So it's really weird. And like I said, this engine in this particular car runs very warm. Most cars you want to keep them around, what, 200 or less, right? 198, 196, 165. You know, maybe the 190s in the winter because you want to create some heat in the car for you. But most cars tend to run around, you know, the 190, 200 mark. For whatever reason, this car, this engine, and it's just a regular small block Chevy, but it's fuel infected, which I don't know if that has any good, but it really likes to be, at least as far as the manufacturer thought, likes to be around 230. The fans don't kick on until 238, so that's when they figure things are getting warmed up. Personally, I'm thinking about changing the thermostat in this thing and heck with the fan. You know, I'd like to get this car and keep it around 190, 200 like every other small block in the world. But anyway, this is the secret. The reason you put cooling paste, okay, and that's what the grease was in days of old until they got cheap out and they don't. And I even called a bunch of different part stores to see, do you have any modules that come with the paste? None of them do. None. Because that way they can sell it for, this stuff ain't cheap, but that way they could probably sell it for $1 less, you know, and because instead of raising the price, they just got rid of the grease on you. But it's causing all sorts of problems. Okay? So get yourself some cooling paste, and the cooling paste is what goes on the back of the module. All right? It does, now great if you find a company that you can buy it from, buy your module from that actually comes with the cooling paste. That would be fantastic. Great. And it's sealed because, you know, it's for human consumption. No. But it is indeed. These, I had to retire my old Leatherman. It broke and it was getting worn out. And it was my dad's, so I don't want to ruin it. So I kind of put it, you know, church on Sunday kind of thing. You know. But anyway, you got to break this little seal here. That ought to do it. Does that work? Yep. All right. So, buttons on a fat man shirt. Get it? So, buttons. Never mind. Anyway, take my little not dielectric grease, my cooling paste, and the reason that what this does is it transfers heat. Who knew, right? Transfers heat. That's the whole purpose of the cream on the back of this module, is to transfer the heat from the back of this module into the metal in the distributor, which is 9,000 degrees because it's attached to the engine. But, and I'm going to explain, and I don't know how this works, but if you've ever welded a, now HVAC, does anybody know what that is? Well, if you do, HVAC is air conditioners. Okay, and if you have a heat pump type air conditioner, and you're going to be like, what does this got to do with this whole video? And I'm going to explain, so just hang tight, hang tight. This is good information, I promise. When you have to solder in and or weld in a transfer valve on your heat pump, which makes, basically it's just a valve that makes the go the other way. Okay, so your freon's flowing this way for air conditioning, and then you want it to go to heat, so you flow it that way. And that's how a heat pump works. It just runs backwards. Okay, so instead of creating cool, it creates heat. That's just how it works. Okay, but when you have to solder those in, you got to get it hot enough to melt the solder, right? So when you start to heat them up, it can damage the valve. So why they don't make the valve longer so the heat doesn't go, I don't know, because that's just the way it is. But you can buy cooling paste. It usually comes in a big tub, and it's very expensive. It's like 70 bucks for a big tub. But what that does is you put it on the valve parts, and then when you're soldering, it keeps that valve part cool. I don't know how it works, because it's weird, because I mean you can literally lay your hand on it while you're soldering a piece of pipe like 1.5 inches away from it. It's crazy. So that's the purpose of this little tube of paste. And I got this one at Staples. I mean, going to buy, I called every part store and nobody had any cooling paste. They're like, what is that? I don't know. Weird, right? Because this is what the world is coming to. They don't supply you the parts you need like they used to when I was younger. But if you don't know, you can cause your own problems. So we're going to put some cooling paste, $8 for this tiny tube, by the way. But I got mine at Staples. I had to order it. They didn't have it in stock. You can get it online, and I don't think it matters which one. I saw a bigger tube for like 12 bucks. Whatever, which one. If you do this a lot, by all means, buy a bigger tube. This tube will probably last me 400 years. I mean, literally, we're going to go. There we go. We're just going to use that much. And this is the fun part. You get all, make sure your finger's clean. Clean enough. Finger lickers. How many people are finger lickers out there? Right? Think about this. You see somebody passing out papers. Right? My job, I actually, I have to go to training, and when I go to training, people hand out paperwork. Well, you'll see these people handing out paperwork, and they're going. Okay, and we also have fingerprint scanners. So if you want to open a door, you got to scan your fingerprint. What do people do when it doesn't work? Don't do that! So don't do that. That's gross. But anyway, we're going to get dirty. But I'm not licking my finger clean when we're done. Right? And don't be a finger licker, okay? That's just, no, that's gross. Anyhow, we're going to spread the paste around. If we need a little more, I think we'll be all right with this amount. All right. And that is going to help my module. Now, I opted for a new module. This one was messing up when things would get hot. It's probably okay. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put a new module in there. And because I'm in there anyway, right? Why not? All right. So that's pretty much it. And I'm going to put this one back in. Just adds a little character to the shirt, Let the wife worry about it. Anyhow, we're going to just go ahead and install this one. And I guess I got to move my camera and see how this works. Now I know better. I should have put the grease on the distributor, because now I've got to handle this greasy mess while I'm installing this thing. So that's not going to be fun. just put that module back in, it's taken all of the fire again. When I started it, it was running kind of rough. But as you can see, she's starting to clear up and not popping anymore. So my thought was that maybe I had a cylinder that was fouled because of problems that that module was having, and now it was real rich when I first started it. Now it appears to be cleaning up, no more smoke. My guess is that I've been running a module that was working so-so, and that's why I was experiencing misfires. But now, she seems to have worked out her bugs. I'm going to give it a couple of revs and see what we got, and then I'm going to have to take it for a test drive. That'd be my guess. There's no more popping, right? Idling a tad high, and I know what that problem is because back when I first ran this car, first got it started, the other computer I had in it was idling too low, and so this doesn't have an idle adjustment, so I did a little, redneck engineering. Got her to idle up a little bit. Now, with the new controller in it, the new computer in it, it seems to be idling a little bit higher. And now with that one miss I was getting, it seems to be fixed as well. Now, she should be, woohoo! We won't know until we take her for a drive. But I'm going to go ahead and button it up. I'm going to end this video. Y'all have been go watch my other videos if you want to see driving in this car, because I've done a lot of driving videos with this car. But I'm going to end the video here, and because it's supposed to be a short video, right? But as you can see, things seem to be better. The popping is gone. That popping was not even there with the other module, and I'm guessing that's because that cylinder was probably not working at all. Of course, when you got 8 cylinders, if you got 7 of them running good, sometimes you don't notice that other one. If you don't know, seems to be running fantastic right now. I'm going to take it for a drive. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe. That's very important to me. Doesn't hurt if you hit the like button either. I heard that's helpful sometimes, but it also makes me feel kind of warm and fuzzy. You know what I mean? That's again, my subscribers are awesome. Thanks for watching.